Hello, guys. I'm Legospaceman,
And I'm Mr. MPS 2002.
and welcome to another episode of Trackside Tunes. Today, my special guest is, as stated just a moment ago, Mr. MPS, and today we're going to be having a 75th anniversary special. Whoa, my God.
Woo!
It's great, guys. Everybody have a smile. And you're probably like, well, Bailey, you talked about everything and cool, like freaking Michael Donald, Junior Campbell, and then you talked about all the music in the series. Who in the world else could you talk about? Well, that's a very good question, child. And that answer I give to you the most beautiful thing this fandom has to offer. Well, besides everything else, and the music creators.
Woo!
Oh.
Yeah, man,
And
this is a good idea for an episode. Spotlight some music creators in this community. Show some love to some maybe underrepresented people because I feel like music creators really don't get enough credit in this community, to be honest.
yeah, for sure, they're truly talented. Truly talented people, and there's some great music out there. Mr. MPS, what's some of your favorite music creators in this fandom?
Well, I'll start off with Silver Dragon TV. He's an older user. He's pretty iconic, though. His music back in the day was used a lot by users like myself at Enterprising Engine 93. Um, and the one thing that I think he's most famous for is he's got a diesel theme that's it's menacing. It sounds like Aladdin, Arabian Nights meets Diesel's theme. It's really incredible. Silver Dragon TV hasn't uploaded in quite a while, couple years, but I hope that person is doing well, and I hope maybe someday they'll come back and make some more music. That'd be great. But as of right now, they've got a good selection on their channel. There's some Thomas stuff, there's some Tugs stuff, and I know that you're probably more interested in the Tug stuff yourself.
Yeah, most of you guys don't know me. I'm mostly a Tugs YouTuber. So, I have great respect for his Tug stuff. Like his warrior theme is incredible. I that's like the most accurate warrior theme I think on the internet. Like, no offense, but not even Tugsters or MK can compete with this warrior theme because it's just perfect.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Tugs guy, so I personally myself don't feel like I'm not in the right to speak about it. But I appreciate it, and I appreciate talent.
Yes, quite. Um, but I guess since Mr. MPS talked about a music user, I suppose I'll talk about one Sundry Alfro. He's been around a while, even though he's one of those people that are just oh man, how do I describe this? Mr. MPS, would you like to take the stage and try to explain the viewpoints of people on this
uh,
guy?
well, you love him and you hate him. You love him or you hate him, or you love and hate him. Really, you could take that either way. It's he's a contentious figure for sure, but let's try to separate the art from the artist here. Let's just talk about his music as of right now, because his music, Sundry Afro's music, I'll say it is really good. Sundry Afro makes great music.
Yeah, for sure. And he's one of the people that tried making like 100 grade accurate Thomas music down to the last grain of salt. He's one of the first people to try to do that. He kind of discovered the synthesizers and things to use for said thing, which is incredible. Um,
Absolutely, yeah, and he has been known. He's been a controversial figure, for various reasons. But one of the biggest reasons is because he doesn't let people use, or at least he didn't. I don't know. He might have switched his position. I don't pay attention to Sudrian Afro, if I'm being honest. He might have changed it, but last I remember, people were making a big stink about him a couple years ago because he wasn't letting people use his music, and I don't know. I feel like um, on one hand, he doesn't own the rights to the music. He didn't compose Thomas's theme. Thomas's theme is created by the show. He didn't make it himself. It's not technically his IP. But at the same time, he recreated it. He put his own spin on it, and he did it himself, and he put the time in. So, looking back, and I really don't know who was in the right and who was in the wrong. I think both sides have points, but I don't want to make any potentially inflammatory statements here, but I will simply just say that I respect Sudrin Afro's work, and I respect that he still uploads, because his last upload was pretty recent, just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, he's still like a competitor in the ring, to say the least, with the music creator genre. Um, so I mean, one now there's one person that everybody knows when they hear Thomas music, even though he has little to nothing to do with Thomas music in his name. Tuxters intensifies. My God.
Yeah, the Tugster intensifies. The Tugster intensifies. Yeah, I mean he's another great creator. Another makes great music. I'm sorry if there's any loud noise in the background. There's someone's vacuuming in the apartment next door to me. It's quite loud, so I apologize if that's loud in the background.
Understandable. No problem.
But yeah, so what I don't know much personally about Tuxter intensifies. I because sort of he sort of became prominent after I was already not really looking for music to use anymore after I'd already decided I was done doing a fan series, you know. So I feel like you would probably know more about him than I would.
Well, Tuxter makes some pretty good stuff. He's been around as long as I can remember, honestly, and he has a very certain style. Like, I'm not trying to be rude to the guy, but his style is it's sloppy. Like he incidentally clicks two notes at the same time, and it creates this very weird style. Like, you know, when he has like those saxophone solos and he incidentally clicks two notes, that kind of gives his style to his music. That kind of identifiable, weird type of almost just very. It's clunky, but it works good. It's hard to describe. It works like really good. Um, it's a very odd style, and I think that's why everybody in the fandom knows him because it's just such. It's so identifiable. Like when I hear a piece that Tuxter made, I can instantly tell it's Tuxter's because of that style and that certain feel he has to his music. While if I listen to, no offense, like if I listen to someone like Carter or Nafford Harbor, they sound pretty much the same. Um,
Hmm. Ooh, that's a zinger right there.
no offense. Not trying to cause some inflammatory problems, but I'm just saying. Uh,
No, for sure. I understand what you mean. Let me think. Are there any maybe not as prominent creators or anyone that influenced you that you'd like to shout out or even just discuss here?
there is one creator. His name is very weird. It's I know him as Elliot, but his actual show name is XIY. Yeah, I don't know.
Say yeah.
I just don't ask me.
Hmm.
I just don't know. It's good. He makes some pretty good stuff. His style is more orchestral. It uses orchestral bases and orchestral ideas, but it incorporates Thomas in it to a way that works like really well. Like most people, when they make an orchestral piece, they kind of make Thomas orchestral, which is good, but they don't really know how to do it in a way that like sounds epic. Like for example, Upside Down Music does a very good job at that. Like he knows how to compute orchestral feels into Thomas, but other people don't. Like even me, being a music creator, it's difficult for me to figure out the style because I've only been doing it for like what 3 months, so it's difficult. I mean, I've been creating music for 3 years, but when you try to do something new, it's difficult. That's why I've been mostly sticking with jazz and kind of computery s stuff. You know.
Yeah, I feel that. Definitely. Well, who's someone that you would say that you really look up to? Like, who would you say was your or what was your inspiration to start doing music?
I think it was Tuxers Intensifies, Nafford Harbor, and Tuxers Intensifies, Nafford Harbor, and Southern Afro, I'd say, because I think all their music styles are were useful to me developing my own. Because everybody in the fandom has their own music style, except certain people that try to imitate a music style from season one that gets repetitive. But you know, there's people that try their own take on something and they make it their own, and that's interesting. It's very interesting watching what people do. And when I was going to stage for no reason, I was like, well, I have to create something that's not the same as everyone else. So I just kind of do what I wanted to do. And in that process, try to develop my own ideas in my own field of something. I directly uh, tried to develop my own ideas and views on something. I directly listened to their pieces and computed what I wanted to know and feel about those. So,
Do you have any anecdotes about like perhaps how you got started personally? I know you were mentioning you had a little story earlier.
oh yeah. So, Nafford Harbor doesn't let people use his music, as a lot of people know. So a long time ago, I made a stop motion short where I used his music, and then his fans came onto my video and said, "Oh, you can't use his music." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I'll just use someone else's music." And then Cedric Alfro, I couldn't use Cedric Alfro's music, and I was like, "Okay, this is tacky." Then I couldn't use Tuxer's, and I was like, "You know what? Screw it. I'm making my own stuff. I'm tired of this. This is ridiculous. Why can't any music creators let people use their stuff?" So now I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna make music that people can enjoy and use in their projects without getting bashed to crap and back, and that's what I did.
And
uh,
the rest is history.
that's what they said in Rudolph. um, but yeah, and as you said, Mr. MPS, I understand where the creators are coming from, but I just don't understand the point of uploading music if you're not gonna let people use it. It's like putting a video on the internet and not letting people watch it. It just doesn't make sense to me a little bit, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you when we're talking about maybe non-profit stuff like my series, which I was making no money off of. Absolutely, I didn't make a cent off of my Thomas Monroe series way back in 2013 or whatever the fuck. But like the people that have AdSense turned on, like I and are starting to make money using someone else's music, then that gets a little bit more. That's a whole different conversation that we honestly probably don't need to talk about.
Oh yeah, that's a whole new can of worms right there.
But yeah, I mean, overall, I have a lot of respect for the musicians in our community. We have a lot of really talented musicians in our community, and yeah, respect to everybody grinding out there.
Yeah, and there's a lot of talented music creators and another thing I want to talk about is underrated music creators. Like when you brought that up earlier, that kind of reminded me of a lot of me because a lot of people don't even know I make music. So when I show them my music, they're like, "Oh, this is cool. I mean, that's a thing. I mean, I think that's pretty spicy, but I mean, cool." And I'm like,
Hmm.
and some pieces are starting to get traction, like my "What Will You Do with the Drunken Sailors" become my mini popularity between me and people for some weird reason. But uh,
What do you do with the drunken sailor? What do you do with the drunken sailor? Dun, 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 dun. What do you do with the drunken sailor? Dun, dun, dun. That's my rendition of what do you do with the drunken sailor. If anyone needs me to drop some vocals on their next track, let me know.
freaking Mr. MPS sings Thomas, "You're the number one." Freaking
Bro,
rap edition.
I'll hop on. I'll drop bars. I'll any song that I'm on automatically becomes a banger. Just let me know.
Yes. Oh man, he can make freaking "Come for the Ride" sound like uh freaking rap song.
I'll drop some sick bars on Come for the Race.
Just imagine you just like with a massive drum machine, just have some freaking dark glasses on, like wearing the blue shirt, like a hat backwards, saying, "Oh yeah."
All right, speaking of other fan channels that create music that need more attention, I think that we should talk for a second about hold on. I literally oh, sorry. Okay. Don't add in any of that. Let me do this again. Speaking of fan channels that I think deserve more attention when it comes to music, let's talk about Music of Sodor. That's a channel with Eric Pier53 and Oliver Duck, Ted, although Ted hasn't been as active lately, so it's mostly just been Eric. But I mean, just in general, that's another fantastic channel where they upload some amazing musical themes.
Yeah, for sure. And even though Ted has been retired for quite a while, I mean, Eric still posts some really good stuff on there. I mean, his stuff is pretty dang impressive, and I truly think the guy has his own style down. That's great. Like his style is more of orchestral, but it uses the Thomas bass line. Like it doesn't try to extend itself and to make something greater. It's just Thomas. That's literally what it is.
Well,
I mean,
also, I've noticed that lately Eric's been he's been sort of expanding his reach to create some more original songs as well as covering existing songs. And anytime somebody tries to add something new to the canon that's not just an already existing thing, I'm all for that.
yeah, for sure, because it adds something new to the table that is fresh and refreshing. Because when somebody makes a Henry theme over and over again, it gets repetitive, or a Gordon or Thomas. But when you have an original piece, it's something fresh. It's something great to have and listen to.
Definitely. Well, Well, let me think. I don't think that I have any other uh, music users that I feel a particular need to talk about. What about you?
Me, sorry.
Oh, I mean, why don't you talk about yourself a little bit then?
I make music, and yeah, I make mostly uh, covers of stuff, but I usually add my own swing to it. I sometimes, and I mean rarely, and sometimes make original pieces. Uh, Mostly it's jazz, orchestral, and electric. My stuff usually either sounds like a video game, some New Orleans swing, or orchestral. Even though I haven't been doing orchestral for too long. So basically, that's all I have to offer to the table. Now, if you want to go check me out, I exist. Yeah, great.
Lego Spaceman Productions. Check him out for only the greatest Thomas and Tugs tunes. I feel like that's what you should rename this show, Thomas and Tugs Tunes.
Thomas and Tug's tunes. Whoa, I'm probably gonna get shot by James when he comes back to the show for that.
Hmm. Well, I
So
mean, I honestly think that this has been quite a productive conversation.
yes, quite.
I think we've covered a lot of ground. I think we're good to wrap it up.
Yes, quite. So this is Lego Spaceman and Mr. MPS signing out. If you'd like to check me out, I'm Lego_Spaceman on Twitter. That's
And
my ad.
I'm at Mr. MPS 2002 on Twitter. I also have a YouTube channel, but there's nothing on there, and you probably know that by now. So don't go to my YouTube channel unless you want to.
Yes, it's no offense, but it's been dead for a while.
Been
Even
dead
though
for a while
even though his vibes still keep going.
because
I
I
also
am now in college and I have more important things to worry about.
Thomas the Tank Engine's throwing college. People
Ha!
early. Okay. Anyway, but yes, I also have a YouTube channel. It should be in the description of the video, surely. But if it's not, it's just like a spaceman. If you'd like to check me out, and that's pretty much all I have to say.
All right. Well, I guess yeah, cool. I guess that's it. All right, adios everybody. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, it's quite. See everybody later.